Alrighty, Baltic Gap. Just gonna do a quick intro here. Gonna overview the forces and talk a little bit about the game and some stuff we've got going on here. Everybody just bear with me a little bit on the lighting in this. Since I moved my gaming room, I got a new light fixture installed, but the glare from the fixture right above the table might be a little excessive, so I'm trying to figure out how to deal with that. So I might do a few more videos handheld like this type thing over the stationary, because I couldn't find a good angle stationary to avoid the glare, so we'll see what I can do. If anybody has any pointers on avoiding this horrible glare, that'd be great. I can't really move the table. The rest of this room is pitch black. I'm not going to have much success anywhere else. So, alrighty, let's get into what everybody's here to watch, not the glare on the table. We can watch that though. It's pretty fancy. There you go. Alright, now on to the real business here. Baltic Gap. So, the Russian invasion of the Baltic states, 1944. This is right on the edge of the destruction of Army Group Center, which will be off map here. So that's giving the Russians, even on turn one here, an opportunity to just drive deep into the German positions here. And that's how, ideally, if everything works out the way it's supposed to, we're going to create a pocket up in here by the end of the game, the Courland pocket, which I do believe held out until right to the end of the war, historically. So when I've played before as the Russians, I'd done a previous YouTube solo before, and I think I made it to maybe about here with the Germans, and or with the Russians, and here with the Russians, before I realized I'd completely screwed it up and decided to call it a game. So we'll see if we can get a little bit further than that now. I'm a little more experienced and hopefully have my shit together a little bit better than that. So, alright, take a look quick here at the forces, and the glare comes in. Lots of infantry divisions, just all the way up and down the line here. The Germans tend to have the superior quality troops and the superior combat value of their troops. So you see 1643 is a regular German infantry division here, compared to some 8s and some 10s with lower action rating as well. Some of the Russian Guards infantry here, which are the orange counters, are a little more comparable. This glare is awful. What the hell's going on here? Let's see if we can get here. There we go. A little more comparable. We get into a 12-4, a 12-3, 10-3s. So those will have some punch to them. What the Russians do have is a lot of them, and a lot more to come after what's on the board here. Their reinforcements are insane. We will take a look at that afterwards. But basically the goal, which I said before, is pushing through this open space that's going to be in front of us here. The Germans will throw some things in front of the Russians to try and stop them, but the Russians need to push as fast as they can into the rear of the German positions. You can see here on Polotsk, a little too bracketed. That is the victory point value of that hex. The Russians are also on a schedule, so I think the first 3 turns they do not require, or first 2 turns they don't need any points. So we start on June 26th, June 29th, the 0 there signifies no need for any victory points, but if by the 1st of July we don't have 2 victory points, then the Germans gain a point. And if we have over 2, the Russians would gain a point. And as you can see, gradually increases as we go on to up and down the turns here. So by August 8th there I would need 26, which is pretty daunting when a lot of these are only worth 1. So Polotsk here is worth 2. We get up to Glubokoye for 1. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that for 1. Griva, Daugavpils, so you can kind of see where we can start to pick them up. but it's certainly not going to be easy if the Germans have their anything to say about that. Coming to the center here, we have some Latvian infantry defending the German lines here. I have to get into that actually as well, the German defensive line here. They're defending on the Panther Line, it was called, which is a series of fortifications held along behind the rivers and in some forested areas as well, which have hedgehogs at the start of the game already to help with the defense. So very good defensive positions, but the negative aspect for the Germans here is they have no depth. So all the Russians need to do is punch a hole, and if they were to get a double turn, this could be a pocket in a matter of, a few seconds. And then we would have all those units cut off, and losing units is not something the Germans can spare in this game. The replacements are somewhat generous, but you don't want to have to be worrying about replacements when you've got this Russian horde driving towards your positions. You want to try and have some force preservation so we can at least fall back onto better defensive positions, fall back to our next river line, and retreat in order, not in disarray. So some of these positions are difficult to crack, and it's going to take the Russians a few months just to build up the right amount of forces and supply necessary, as we'll be funneling a lot of it into our drive to the west here. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game, I think. A lot of different little rules that I'll probably go over as I start playing a little bit more. Like rail conversion needs to be done for the Russians to use the rail, so it's not like we can just drive in to the German positions and just clearing a rail line will help us with supply. We need to actually convert the rail lines to the Russian wide track so that they can be used. So key to the start of the game here will be capturing the rail hub of Polotsk so that we can extend our rail line here and up here to Dogov Pills, where we'll try and base our turn into the center of the map from. So again, another rail hub for us to continue our movement down further. So key really there is the rail lines. So yeah, the Russian Air Forces here, actually another good point. If I can reduce this glare here. No, I'm not having a great luck of it. The Russian Air Force is completely dominant. The Germans pretty much didn't even show up to this battle. It's going to be a bloodbath, I believe. The best thing the Germans can do is probably spread their forces out, so it forces the Russians to attack them in multiple spots. So we've got these off-map air units here, mostly IL-2s, with some other bombers mixed in as well. Tons of fighters on the board, covering each portion of the army here. More there, and more there. And we have these guards as well, the red outlined ones. The Guards Air Force, and they're quite good and can stand toe-to-toe with the German fighters. So it's not even just numbers in low quality, they have the quality as well to back up. And it gets even more powerful when we look at the reinforcements here. These top two sheets here, Russian reinforcements, you can see it's pretty substantial. That turn 1 is already off on the side of the map. That's turn 2. Turn 3, we get more air forces, long-range air forces, which can be used once a month. Just huge amounts of units that keep coming into the game. It keeps flowing. Even right to the end, it's, pretty good flow of units. I've got these step loss markers here marking when there's withdrawals and whatnot as well, but not a lot of withdrawals there. Now let's look at the German reinforcements here, and it's quite sparse. You can see a lot of empty spaces here where I haven't placed the reinforcements. Those are hypothetical reinforcements, which are not part of the historical campaign, so they did not fight in here historically, so I'm not going to use them. I could if I wanted to. If I think it might make the game a little more interesting, maybe I'll throw something in later if the Germans are completely out to lunch and I screw everything up. So I guess let's take a look at the German Air Force here, which is not much. This is about it right here. I've just placed them in Riga and whatever the heck is above Riga there. I can't see it from here. Sloka. But there's only about 4 or 5 aircraft total, and the Russian hordes will make quick work of that. Pretty excited to get started here, but I just thought I'd do a quick intro for those not familiar with the game and give a quick look. So if anybody has anything they'd like me to review, because I kind of just did this off the cuff, leave a comment and I can kind of explain any questions that people might have. So going to get started in the next day or so, so keep watching. One more thing, look at this thing. That's a Katusha division, 144 barrage value. That's absolutely insane. That's gonna mess some stuff up. Coming for you, Polotsk.